What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we will be doing the best UFC champions tier list. So I've got champions all on the screen. I'm going to drag and drop them into the tier list on where I think they best fit. So obviously S tier is the greatest of the greatest champions, all the way down to, the lower tiers, and F tier, which is, in my opinion, the worst champions that have ever been crowned in the UFC. So without further ado, subscribe if you're new here, leave a like if you enjoy the video, and let's get right into it. So first of all, we have we'll go for Leon Edwards first. So Leon Edwards, I'm going to put him in C tier, because I think as far as quality wise, I think he is champion quality. I think he's deserving of the belt. I think there's a reason he has that belt. But I also think there's a lot of people that could actually beat him in the division. But obviously, a reason why he's kind of high up on this tier list, I'd say he's quite a good spot in comparison to a lot of people that you're going to see on it in just a second, is that he beat Usman twice, and Usman was quite a hard to beat champion. Obviously, he beat a lot of people. He had a lot of defenses, so you got to give him respect for that. But I think he beats Kobe. I do, but I think there are a lot of people that may threaten his position as the champion in that weight class. So we'll have to see. And if he gets a few more defenses, we can maybe see him working his way up the list. Moving on, we have Conor McGregor. I'm putting Conor in D tier, because Conor's never actually defended his belt, okay? So if Conor had defended his belt someone, which I think there was a lot of fights he could have won, I think he's good. I feel like he would be much higher in the list. I think he could have finished a lot of contenders in the featherweight and lightweight weight class. However, he never got a single title defense, which is why he's here. But quality-wise, he's definitely deserving of the higher tiers. But just due to the fact he never defended, I can't put him any higher than that. So that's why he's in that position on the tier list. Moving on, we have Daniel Cormier. I'm going to put Daniel Cormier in B tier. Obviously, he beat a lot of good guys, but the problem with why he can't be higher is that he basically was only champion because John Jones was too busy doing steroids and getting banned from the UFC. So obviously, I feel like if John Jones wasn't getting popped and getting banned by USADA from competing, he would have maintained the championship in light heavyweight. However, the reason why he's still in B tier is because he went up to heavyweight and proved that he can still beat heavyweights too. Obviously, he won that belt. He defeated a lot of heavyweights. He beat Derek Lewis. He beat that was a light heavyweight. But anyway, he beat a lot of people in both weight classes. He knocked out Stipe Miocic as well for the heavyweight belt. But then he did lose to him again. So it's just a problem, isn't it, that DC, he wasn't quite consistent enough in his wins to solidify him as a proper great champion. But and also he was living in Jones' shadow. However, he is a double champ, so that certainly adds to his credibility. And because double champ's hard to be. So moving on, we have Demetrius Johnson. He's going in A tier. Quality wise, this guy was probably the best he could be, and he did really well. He's got a lot of finishes. He's got obviously really big moments in the UFC, and he had a big rivalry. He did lose to Henry Cejudo in the end, but he is arguably probably the top 5 greatest of all time in the sport. So he's going in A tier. Won the belt, had a good run. So yeah, obviously DJ, he has to be high up in this list. There's just no question about it. Moving on to who I think is probably the worst champion in UFC history. Michael the Count Bisping, Mr. Oh my word. Well, basically, I just think he's the worst champion ever. I know he had defenses and stuff, but I think he got quite lucky in how he was fighting. And obviously he beat Luke Rockhold, so fair enough. He did knock out the champion, but I just think compared to the other guys on this list, and compared to other middleweights, I think he would have lost to a big amount of people in that top 5. I think he was a very beatable champion, and I'm surprised that he actually managed to get a title defense in itself. I think that's quite crazy. He was quite lucky on that front. But so that's why Michael's there. I just don't think he's championship caliber. I think he's more of a journeyman. It's kind of like Jorge Masvidal, in my opinion, winning a belt. It's like a guy who can get finishes on a few top guys, but you'd never really expect him to get near the belt. But no disrespect to Morris Michael, but I just feel like he had a lot of favourable outcomes in his fighting career, which ended up getting him to the belt. And also, if you fight long enough, you're eventually going to put a winning streak together to get you a belt. Moving on, we have one of the greatest of all times. We have George St. Pierre. He's going in S tier. This guy's been in so many title fights. So it's not really a question that he has to be on this list. He's got 2 losses in the UFC, Matt Serra and Matt Hughes, and he avenged both losses. So, you know, it's not like he lost to them then quit. So he avenged his losses, so that's why he's high up, because it obviously adds credibility when you avenge them instead of just losing and quitting. And he has pretty dominant performances. There was some questionable fights, such as against Johnny Hendricks, where he basically lost that fight, and he got the win, but I presume it's because they knew Johnny Hendricks was on steroids, or they just didn't want him as champion. It was all a bit weird, but anyway, one of the greatest of all time, undoubtedly, and he obviously belongs in S tier because he is one of the greatest champions ever. He has so many defenses in welterweight, and it just can't be questioned why he's in S tier. So yeah, that's why GSP's there. He kind of helped get me into the sport, got me really interested. When I was a kid, I really just loved his personality, and I just loved watching his fights and stuff like that. And he was really fun guy to look up to when you're a kid. Anyway, moving on, we have Khabib. I'm going to put Khabib in A tier. I think quality-wise, he's basically S tier. I think he would have beat anyone in lightweight at that point in time. But he just didn't have enough defenses. I think he retired too early. I think to get into S tier, I think you have to stay, you know, like GSP did, stay fighting, keep defending the belt. And I know he did defend the belt. I think he did it 3 times. I think he did it 3 times. I just don't think that that's enough. I think he was still in his prime. I think he quit too early. And I know he did it out of respect for his mother. But, you know, if that hadn't happened, he would have definitely been in S tier if he continued to win. You know, 30-0. If he got that next win, he would have been 30-0. I mean, that's just such a statement, isn't it? 30 wins and no losses, undoubtedly S tier. If he got to 5 title defenses, we could have looked at putting him in S tier. But just on the limited amount of defenses he did have, he can't be put in S tier. But he is a quality champion, obviously one of the best grapplers of all time, maybe the best. You know, that's still up for debate, but that's why Khabib's there. Moving on, we have Islam Makhachev. Islam's we'll put him in C tier with Leon. Quality-wise, I think he's really good, and the reason he's above McGregor is because he's actually defended his belt against Volkanovski, and so has Edwards, and Conor McGregor has, you know. So, yeah, and also quality-wise, Makhachev is better than a lot of the Conor McGregor. I'd say I think he'd beat him in a fight if they were both in their primes, and yeah, that's why Makhachev's there. Obviously, he's still got a lot to prove. I don't know who he's fighting next. It might be Oliveira. Who knows at this point? I mean, he doesn't really have many opponents. That's the problem in the lightweight division, just because of its structure with the top 5. But he needs to prove himself more, keep defending. And I think he knows this, but I don't think Makhachev is going to pull a Khabib where he retires in his prime. I think we're going to get a solid like 5-6 more fights to this guy. And obviously if he wins them all, he'll be on like 6-7 defenses. And then there you go, you know, you're in kind of GOAT status there. And also he's been talking about welterweight recently. So if he gets a double champ, he'll be right up there. Obviously he could be moving on to B tier then, and then maybe A tier if he gets defenses in both weight classes. So yeah, you know, rising champion right now, and we'll just see how he does in the future. Moving on, another S tier, Anderson Silva. I think he has the most title defenses. He has the most title defenses streak, so he's gone at the top of S tier because I think he defended his belt, or he won 16 title fights. I think he defended 16 times in a row. So yeah, that is the biggest title defense streak ever, and I don't really think it will be broken anytime soon. Not that I can think of anyway. Usman was close, or I think it was a win streak. Sorry, but Usman was close. But then he got knocked out by Leon Edwards, and the reason being is that Anderson Silva is levels above Usman. I think Anderson Silva is definitely a better fighter than Usman. I think Usman's just a bit basic in some departments. And Anderson Silva, obviously, very dynamic striking in his prime. Good off his back and got submissions when he was losing fights, such as against Chael Sonnen. And, you know, he just finds ways to win, which is what a champion does, you know. Even when they're losing a fight, they find a way to win, which is what a lot of GSP fights involved as well. So, you know, huge respect to Anderson Silva. One of the greatest, certainly probably the greatest middleweight. And, yeah, huge respect to him. That's why he's at the top of this tier list. Moving on, we have John Jones. I'm putting John Jones there. He's in S tier as well. The difference being between Anderson Silva and John Jones is that I feel like Anderson Silva maybe has more highlight reel moments as champion. Obviously, he's got crazy knockouts. Crazy, obviously, submissions of his back. But John Jones is also there. They're kind of tied for first place, to be honest, because John Jones has also got highlight moments. The choke against Lyoto Machida, and however, the reason why he might not be as good is that some of his fights have been a bit weird, like the Dominic Reyes fight. I mean, did he really win that? I don't think he actually won that fight at all, to be honest. And the fight against Thiago Santos, that was quite close. And personally, I don't think Thiago Santos is very good. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't think he's like a championship material. So for the fight to be that close against John Jones, who some people call the greatest of all time, it just kind of tarnishes your reputation of how good you can be. But obviously, now a double champ, so you can't argue that he's good. He's good in championship fights, so he's S tier for that as well. Obviously, never really lost technically. I mean, he kind of lost to Dominic Reyes, but we won't call that a loss, just for the logistics sake. And that's why John Jones is there. Arguably tied first place. Just people need to dispute themselves over who's first, but that's certainly my top 3 fighters. Moving on, we have Kamaru Usman. Kamaru's going in, I think he's going in B. I think the reason I'm putting Kamaru in B is because even though he had more defenses than Khabib and stuff, is because I feel like Kamaru's kind of beatable, I feel like, I know obviously Kamaru's got more defenses, like I said, but I feel like if you gave Kamaru a good fight, like someone who was kind of designed to beat him, like Leon Edwards, I think if he fought Leon Edwards again, and it wasn't at Salt Lake City, I think he would have won that first fight. I think he would have been winning, well, their second fight technically, their first title fight. I think he would have been winning that first title fight more convincingly, because obviously he wouldn't have gassed. So I just think that Usman was always beatable, but I think he got matchups that quite favoured him. So against Kobe, for example, he has 2 defenses against Kobe, and Kobe's just a poor man's Usman, you know what I mean? Like, he's just worse Usman. Obviously both good wrestlers, but then Usman's got the power advantage on the feet, so the striking would favour him, because he just, even if they were eating the same amount of shots, Kobe would take more damage and therefore Usman would win. And then obviously against Jorge's not championship quality, so he doesn't deserve there. Gilbert Burns, he's not championship quality either. So it's these guys that I feel like if he fought someone who was proper championship quality earlier in his title reign, such as Leon Edwards, I think he might have lost, but we'll never know. But that's why he's there. But he still had a good run. Obviously didn't end so well, got knocked out, tried to win the belt back and lost a decision. Lost a decision there as well, in London as well. So yeah, that's why he's there. Cody Garbrandt, what a fall from grace. This guy's going in the bottom of D, because I mean, at least he tried to defend his belt. But yeah, what a fall off, guys. Honestly, really big fall off. Obviously dropped basically the performance of his lifetime to win the belt, and then just in bantamweight, and then just decided to become someone with absolutely no chin. I mean, I'm not saying he had a chin then, but he just didn't really get hit. I don't know what happened in his life to change him as a fighter, but I think he got really emotional or something, or really invested emotionally in the sport, and you could tell in his fights he was dropping his hands in crazy exchanges and just getting clipped, obviously, like in the TJ Dillashaw fight and stuff like that, and against Pedro Munoz. So that's why Cody's there. Wasted potential. I don't know what happened that he fell off so hard in that career, but that is why Cody's in D tier and he can't be any higher. Moving on, we have Volkanovski. I'm going to put Volkanovski in A tier. I'm going to put him after Khabib. Volkanovski's going to be S tier soon, guys, okay? He's... if he won against Islam, he would have been S tier, because obviously Islam's got a huge size advantage and he's the best lightweight there is. And he obviously would have made Volkanovski double champ. But for now, he's here. If he beats Yair and then beats one more guy, I mean, I say we just put him in S tier, because he's just beating anyone they put him in front of him, and he's not just beating them, he's dominating. He, like, in the trilogy Holloway fight, he 5-0'd him. He won every round convincingly, and no one really does that to Holloway. They maybe win a round or two against him, or 3 rounds in like the first fight, but Volkanovski constantly showed improvement. Obviously, he finished the Korean Zombie as well, which is a hard task to do, and he did it in 3 rounds, which is even more impressive. And he just looks untouchable at featherweight. I mean, Yair is probably a tricky opponent for him, so I feel like this will be his toughest matchup. But, I mean, he's probably still going to win it. He's a huge favourite to win it. And we'll see. So Volkanovski is very, very close to being an S-tier fighter, so S-tier champion, sorry. And yeah, I expect him to go down as one of the top 5 greatest without a shadow of a doubt, because he is extremely talented, full of quality, amazing striker, good grappling, good chin, and amazing cardio as well. This guy literally doesn't tire whatsoever, so that's why he's there. Moving on, we have Stipe Miocic. He's good in B. Actually, we'll put him at the top of B. Okay. And I know this might trigger a few people because obviously they call Stipe the heavyweight GOAT, but he's been knocked out twice by. Well, first of all, he lost his belt to DC, and then I know he beat DC in the trilogy, but then he got absolutely destroyed by Ngannou. You know, and Ngannou isn't that good. And I know obviously it only takes one shot with Ngannou, but he was kind of losing that fight anyway. It wasn't just like Ngannou clipped him out of nowhere. He was getting his takedown stuffed. He was getting outstruck on the feet. And honestly, even if Ngannou had normal heavyweight power, I still think he would have won that fight, maybe even by finish. But Stipe was good, but it's kind of like Usman, where I just feel like there was always if there was a really skilled heavyweight, he would have beat him, or a heavyweight with a really good attributes such as, you know, massive power punching, he would have beaten him. And obviously it just showed that because the first time around he beat Ngannou really convincingly, but then Ngannou developed as a fighter, he got way more skilled, and then he easily beat Stipe. So it just shows that Stipe's level kind of plateaued, you know. He's only so good, he just can't reach that pinnacle of like elite fighter. But you know, he held down the heavyweight division for a long time, so I get why people call him the heavyweight GOAT. But obviously he has losses. He did avenge the one to DC, to be fair, but obviously he isn't going to be avenging the one to Ngannou, so that's why he's there. And it was a terrible loss as well. It wasn't even like, you know, he lost a close decision. He got annihilated. But yeah, so that's why he's there. And also he doesn't, I know he won his fights, but, you know, there was moments in his fights where he wasn't dominating people like Volk does, you know what I mean? So that's why he's there. Moving on, Aljamain Sterling. I mean, this guy's in B tier, you know. Like, I know he's cringe, but, you know, he's doing bits at bantamweight. People hate him because of the knee thing, which is fair enough, I guess. But you know, he's defending his belt. He's got, I think it's 3 title defenses now, 4 maybe now. But yeah, you know, he's fighting Sugar Sean next. He's probably going to win that fight, to be honest. Guy's probably just going to take him down and sub him, or hold him down for the entire time and just make it an absolute snooze fest for another main event. But you know, hate him or love him, you can't deny that he does win his fights, which is what he's, you know, that's what he's going in there for. And you know, some of his fights are being close. He was kind of losing that fight against Peter Yan, and he got saved when he needed him in the face. But he's winning fights. He's defending his belt. So you got to give him credit for that, and he's getting finishes too sometimes. Obviously, he finished TJ. I know he had a injured shoulder as well, and he beat Henry. Let's be honest, he did. I think he won that fight, but yeah, so he's beating who they put in front of him. So fair enough. That's why Aljamain Sterling's in B tier. But I feel like if someone's got really good takedown defense and they're a good striker, I think they'd beat him, to be honest. Moving on, we have Charles Oliveira. Charles is going in B tier. He's going here. He's better than these two guys, I think. And the reason being is that, well, I don't know. He's going in B tier. I can't decide where to put him in B tier. But obviously, I know he's lost to Makhachev and he's above him. But the reason is that he's got defenses. And I know, obviously, they don't count one of them because he lost his belt in the Gaethje fight because of the weight issues. But we'll just count that because he basically was champion then. He always brought the fight. He made it entertaining, and he was finishing top-level lightweights that Khabib finished, and he actually did it quicker than Khabib. Obviously, it took Khabib 2 rounds to finish Gaethje, and he finished Poirier quicker than Khabib did. I know they both finished him in the 3rd, but Oliveira did it quicker. So you got to give him credit for that. He looked good, and he might be getting the belt again. You never know if he beats Makhachev. So he's in B tier. The Oliveira was a good one. The fans loved it, and I know he loved it as well, so that's why he's there. So, yeah, that's the end of the tier list, guys. Obviously, I couldn't fit everyone in. I've just realised I've got Adesanya. I'd put Adesanya in A tier for now because, obviously, he was really good. But Alex Pereira kind of tarnished his legacy when he knocked him out. So that's why he'd be in there. But, you know, if he wins all the rest of his fights till he retires, he'd probably finish in S, if I'm honest. But that's the end of the video, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments who else I should put on this list, because obviously I can't just include everyone. And leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss any of my future content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.